Where have you been? I've beamed and beamed.
Sorry, miss. I was giving myself an oil job.
All right, buddy, sit with me for a moment. Because Forbidden Planet, this 1956 sci-fi classic, it looks shiny and harmless on the outside, but once you start digging into it, man, there's a whole universe of weirdness underneath. And I promise you, some of the stuff that happened behind the scenes will make you go, no way, that actually happened? So yeah, let's chill, let's talk, and let's dive into 12 weird, fun, and slightly mind-bending facts about one of the most influential sci-fi films ever made. Fact 1. The movie basically invented modern sci-fi aesthetic. Here's what I think. When you imagine classic sci-fi, that clean spaceship interior, that sleek control panel, those perfect crew uniforms, you're actually seeing the long shadow of Forbidden Planet. Before this movie, sci-fi sets looked like scrap metal stuck together with glue. But this one changed everything. The C-57D spaceship bridge, it felt real. It felt like something that could actually fly. And you know the funny part? If you watch the original Star Trek right after this movie, you'll notice the similarities right away. The uniforms, the layout, even the way the crew stands around discussing scientific theories. Gene Roddenberry admitted straight up that Forbidden Planet influenced Star Trek, and honestly, it's so obvious once you look closely. So yeah, imagine a world where Forbidden Planet never existed. Would we still get the Enterprise the way we know it? What do you think? You won't believe this, but the movie didn't have an actual musical score. There was no orchestra, no violins, no brass section, nothing traditional. Instead, it had bizarre electronic tones, buzzing, humming, pulsating sounds that made you feel like you were floating in some cosmic dream. Louis and Bebe Barron, the couple behind these sounds, built handmade circuits, literally built them. Each circuit created a tone, and the circuits sometimes burned out while recording, and they considered that the emotional life of the circuit. That's wild, right? The Academy heard this soundtrack and said, that's not music, so they couldn't nominate it. A score so ahead of its time that it disqualified itself. Can you imagine that? But today, people praise it for being one of the earliest examples of electronic music in film. Fact 3. Robby the Robot became a Hollywood superstar. Now this one makes me smile because honestly, Robby the Robot has more personality than some actors today. He talks, he jokes, he follows commands, he cooks, he brews tequila. He's basically your dream roommate. The weird part? Robby wasn't meant to be the face of the movie. He was just a supporting character. But after the film came out, he became a full-on celebrity. TV shows started borrowing him. Advertisements wanted him. Kids adored him. He showed up in The Twilight Zone, The Addams Family, Lost in Space, and a ton of movies. Imagine being made out of metal and electronics, and still stealing the spotlight from the humans. Fact 4. The ID monster nearly drove the effects team crazy. Okay, so the ID monster scenes? Those glowing electric monster outlines that attack the crew? Every single glowing effect had to be hand-drawn. Frame by frame, thousands of frames. These poor animators at MGM were literally layering lightning effects over live footage. By hand. No computer shortcuts, no AI, no digital masks. The stress levels must have been through the roof, but the final result? One of the most iconic monsters ever put on screen. It's the 1950s equivalent of animating Thanos using crayons. Fact 5. Bugs Bunny's animator created the monster. And here's the twist. The ID monster was designed by the same team that worked on Looney Tunes. Imagine going from animating Bugs Bunny eating carrots to animating a terrifying psychological manifestation of pure rage. One day you're like, what's up, Doc? Next day you're like, let's draw a monster born from unconscious desire that tries to kill everyone. Talk about artistic whiplash. Fact 6. Altaira's costumes shocked 1950s audiences. So, Altaira. Anne Francis. Her outfits were something else for the time. Short skirts, futuristic cuts, sheer fabrics. People freaked out. Studio execs got tons of letters complaining her clothes were too revealing and corrupting youth. Today, it looks completely normal. You'd barely notice. It's funny how what used to shock people is now barely eyebrow-raising. Makes you wonder what today's sci-fi fashion will look like in 50 years. Fact 7. Shakespeare was the hidden blueprint. Here's something most first-time viewers don't realize. Forbidden Planet is basically the Tempest in space. Prospero becomes Morbius. Miranda becomes Altaira. Caliban becomes the ID monster, only scarier and invisible. It's Shakespeare mixed with psychology mixed with ray guns. It sounds crazy, but somehow it works. And if you know the original play, the parallels start popping out left and right. Fact 8. The studio thought the movie was too smart. This one always cracks me up. The studio bosses looked at the script and said, "People aren't going to understand any of this. The psychological themes, the subconscious mind, the Krell philosophy." Remember, this was the 1950s. Most sci-fi was about giant ants or flying saucers invading Earth. Suddenly you get a movie about inner demons, repressed emotions, and advanced civilizations destroyed by their own minds. It was bold, it was risky, and it almost didn't get greenlit. But hey, thankfully someone believed in it. Fact 9. Robby the Robot was ridiculously expensive. Alright, brace yourself. Robby the Robot cost $125,000 to build in the 1950s. That's more than many actors made from the whole film. In today's money, we're talking over $1 million, just for one robot costume. But that investment paid off, because Robby became a cultural icon. Fact 10. Leslie Nielsen played it totally straight. Seeing Leslie Nielsen as a serious captain is just weird. We're used to him cracking jokes in Airplane, or doing slapstick comedy in Naked Gun. But here, he's stiff, serious, confident, heroic, no jokes, no silliness. Even his voice sounds different. It's like watching your funniest friend suddenly become a motivational speaker. Fact 11. The Krell lab set was huge and mostly illusion. The Krell laboratory looks massive in the movie, like it could stretch across entire planets. But the truth is, most of it was matte paintings and optical tricks. Artists painted huge detailed backgrounds by hand, and the camera blended the paintings with practical sets. The result? Something that looked light years ahead of its time. Fact 12. The spaceship was recycled everywhere. And the weirdest fact of all? That iconic circular spaceship, the C-57D, became Hollywood's hand-me-down prop. It showed up in TV episodes, other movies, low-budget sci-fi films, you name it. They'd repaint it or flip it upside down, but it was always the same ship underneath. Hollywood recycling at its finest. And that's it, buddy. 12 weird facts about Forbidden Planet all wrapped up. If you had fun hanging out and digging into this wild old-school sci-fi classic with me, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot, and it lets me know you want more deep dives into movies just like this. So yeah, go ahead, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.